So post-war, as they say, life goes on, right? So flip that first light so that y'all can see. Did life actually stop while the soldiers were gone?
Yeah.
Yes, everything just stopped. Nothing worked, nothing moved, nobody breathed. No, life did not stop. It went on. Right? So that means what?
Stuff's still going to be building, jobs are still going to be employed.
What is the problem that the United States faces right now as we're in World War One?
Weaponry?
Coach, can you clock in, please?
Is it
This is the other one. I forgot the other one.
Federal force.
It's not immigration.
Money.
Money's always gonna be a problem, but it's not the one I'm looking for. Think about it. Okay, it does have to do with jobs, but not in the way you're trying to think it is. Because you're gonna think there's a lack of jobs.
So like people have to maybe join the army and stuff?
So that means that the workforce is going to do what?
Poor.
Get lower.
It's gonna get lower, right? Because who's going to World War One?
All the people that are working, all the people that weren't working and have been drafted.
Pretty much everybody from like the age of 18 to like 32, if you're an able-bodied male, you're probably either joining on your own or getting drafted. It's a very small number of people who were left in the workforce. It's not a small number of people, it's a lot of people, but
What small thing?
workforce-wise, compared to the total number of people that are normally there, it's a small number. So America has to adapt. This will happen twice. Once in World War One, once in World War Two. Much more so in World War Two than in World War One, because we're not in World War One for very long. It lasts about 18 months and it's over.
It's about a year.
It's about a year and a half. So, that being said, what is the biggest... Let me think how I want to word this. Okay. There are still groups in America that are not treated the same. The first and most obvious is
African Americans.
African Americans. The next, second most obvious is
Immigrants.
immigrants. The third and not often talked about,
No whites.
it's not whites.
Poor people.
Huh? No, poor people are always going to be treated wrong.
Women.
Women. All right. At this point in time, women, ladies, the only reason you've got more going for you is because you're not black and you're not an immigrant. But that's pretty much it. It stops there. But it doesn't get talked about a lot. We talk about it a lot when women's suffrage comes up, right? Because women get the right to vote and all that stuff. But we don't really speak to the fact that women in the workforce, and I say that because there is scientific data that proves women make less money in the workforce for the same jobs. This counts, and the reason I say this is not thought about, and why Peyton looked at me like I was strange, I guess. Even black males in the workforce make more on average than females. So, now, there's lots of stuff that goes into that. There's lots of thought processes. There's lots of theories. There's lots of ideas. And all of them probably have some truth. I don't think any one of them is the whole truth. I think because it doesn't apply to everybody. There's companies out there that they've got a female CEO and she's making the most money in the company. So, I mean, there's obviously outliers, but there are companies that are on the opposite side of that, right? And that goes for everything. Talking about hiring immigrants, hiring African Americans, hiring women. It exists. The big change is going to be what in World War I? One of the big changes. Someone not named Aubrey, because he is literally answering everything.
What was the question again?
We've been talking about these minority groups. What's going to change World War I?
Minority.
So, like, the majority of Americans are still considered Caucasian. So anybody that's not Caucasian is considered a minority. Women are considered a minority usually, even though there's more women than men on the planet.
So maybe they won't have these jobs.
No, wait. All right. First off, let's separate. Number one, we need to separate all of the men out of the minorities and the African Americans, because they are going to be where? In the war. So let's start there. In the war, meaning they are going to enter what we call enter an institution, not what we call an institution. It is an institution that goes by U.S. military, where everything's done by a certain set of rules, right? It's not about what your skin color is or any of that stuff in the military. Are there examples of the military doing things that are racist and wrong and treating people different? Yes, I'm sure there are. But not it as a whole. Because the military is based upon, I need someone who can do a job, do it right, and help us basically achieve the mission. So this will be a very large step for the minority communities, because they're going to be put on basically equal footing with their Caucasian white male counterparts. Because do you think anybody's stopping in the middle of a war saying, oh man, dude, I cannot fight next to this black dude while somebody's shooting at us? Nah, they got bullets flying by. That's probably the last thing on their mind. So that's the step for the minority communities. How are women going to benefit from World War I? And some people would argue they don't. They'd say, actually, it's bad for them. All right, Aubrey.
They might get some actual job.
They're going to start getting jobs outside of the house. Because who's going to work the factory jobs and all those? Not men, because they're not here. So it's going to be the women, right? Huh? This will also, we don't talk about it because it's not a large part, but this will also be a time where education kind of booms too, because, I mean, where are you going to send your kids? They will live at home, but I mean, kids are expected to go to school because you need to be educated. You're not. All right, so we've covered that. We've covered that. I just wanted to touch on that before we hit post-war America because it's super important. All of these guys that have served in the military are fixing to come back. Now, lots of issues with that. Mental illnesses, talking about trying to come back into a place where a woman has stepped up and started taking care of what the man normally takes care of. It causes tension some places. African Americans especially are coming back from a place where, hey, we just fought in a war and for the most part had pretty decent experiences with the military. Coming back to a still segregated America where they are treated different based on their skin color. It was only 18 months, but that's 18 months where they saw change, right? So there are a lot of people who think that the wars actually helped push the civil rights movement as well. But let's talk about the good stuff first. So, this is also a very large shift in the way people live. What do we have right now that we did not have during the Civil War and probably not very good in the Spanish-American War? Not that technology. Civilian technology that finds its way into the war. No, it's a civilian technology. No. Stop thinking like something that's really useful for people in the military. Huh?
Automatic guns. Guns. Automatic
Just finish it before. Yeah, it's
Read the first line.
Honor. Honor. Oh.
So, how would they be shocked by the horrors, Lila? Right. We now have more portable cameras. We also have, oh, for sure. They send people over there that's their job in the military.
Why does this camera get shot? I mean, but like, well, because he's sitting there, they're taking a movie and he's just sitting there. And
It's-
they'll pull it and then he just goes.
Somebody puts the camera up.
I mean, it happens.
I mean, that's also like.
But we're that's neither here nor there.
But they have live TV.
That's neither here, and it's not live. Live is not a thing yet. But they will have, guys, listen. They will have people that are following the militaries around, looking at Europe and the wasteland it has become because of the war. And they are going to see pictures of the war. Unfiltered, gritty violence. It will wake people up.
Did the cameraman have guns with him? Like fight?
Amazing to see camera.
You just like chasing this cameraman thing. They were there. That's all you need to know.
A pistol?
So,
Don't we have cameraman there?
yes.
We do?
Yes.
Then how come you ever see like movies that aren't like blurred out and stuff anymore? Like that.
You don't even see pictures.
No, but like
Mason, just
Let it slide, bro. Let it slide.
pull it together and let it slide, okay?
so this is going to change the way people live. Up until this point, people lived what we would call a minimalistic life. meaning they bought what they needed and saved the rest. Some would argue it was a better America. When they come back and they see this horror, this death, this violence, it's going to wake them up and kind of spur on the idea that we're not guaranteed tomorrow. So people are going to start living for the present and start spending money and start living life before something bad happens and they don't get to experience those things again. This also changes a lot to do with the workforce. They're not saving as much money, meaning they don't need as much money, right? So they're going to stop working crazy amounts of hours just to have money to put up. They're going to start working more normalized jobs with more normalized hours like we're used to today, which increases the amount of time that the average American has for leisure. Leisure is like just be able to sit around and do whatever you want to do.
Free time.
Free time. That's good answer. So, free time. What do you do with this free time?
Sing.
They're not gonna chill. Video games aren't a thing yet.
Why don't they
TV is still kind of
Watch the war. Read.
nope. War's over.
Remember.
Reading will go up. It's not what I'm talking about though.
Learning.
Yeah.
Or see. Is it that
Having
time?
kids.
Baseball? Playing sports.
Playing and watching professional sports.
Oh, Mom.
Baseball.
Is football even here now?
It's close.
Baseball.
It's
Baseball first.
But is no.
Is soccer here? No, it isn't.
Soccer's been around for forever.
Soccer's
But listen, guys, focus, guys, stop trying to like. Is ping pong around yet? Do they have the ping pong world championships? Stop.
Do those even exist?
Tripper.
Do they? Do they?
It was like,
Hey, I'm stupid. Okay?
It looks like you don't watch sports. You.
People are going to devote a new amount of time to leisure and sports. Sports are an escape from the everyday drudge of life. Baseball is the first real major sport that America just falls behind and in love with. There's a reason, as slow as it is, that baseball still pretty much thrives today. It's as long or longer than an NFL game and has less action. But people love it. Statistically speaking, baseball is still one of the top revenue producers in professional sports. The NFL is way above everybody else right now, but baseball's probably second. No, it's second. It's well above basketball. Like there's a big gap between 1 and 2, and then there's a big gap between 2 and 3. I actually think that truthfully, the NBA and NASCAR are pretty close.
NASCAR.
Right.
NASCAR.
So look, I want you to listen. I want you to listen. I want you to hear me out.
Let's listen.
I want you to listen and hear me out.
Let's listen.
We talked about this the other day. Basketball targets a specific group of people. Who is it? Who is it, Peyton?
African American.
Right. I mean, we can't lie and say that that's not the case. I mean, you can't. So what does NASCAR target?
Caucasian.
Caucasian Americans.
Baseball's
Dave.
And then baseball is kind of a mix.
Baseball.
Well, baseball-
Baseball's for
Here's the deal. No, it's
Wait, was it's kind of mixed.
it's baseball is actually a pretty well mixed demographic of people that watch it.
Most of your greater players are Dominicans.
Is the guy, the African American guy that is like Jack, what's his name?
Jackie Robinson?
Yes, he
Yes.
played.
He's not yet.
Bro,
Oh,
bro, what are you? How do you not know about my
So, baseball will create modern day heroes. People who are above reproach, meaning that they are greater than life, they're bigger than life. They will look up to these people and pretty much put them on pedestals that they can't live up to. Babe Ruth is one of the most famous baseball players of all time because he is larger than life. No doubt about it. He will go down as probably a folk hero to some degree. Does that make sense?
Yes.
You guess. So, but I guess what I'm trying to say is, listen. What I'm trying to say is, are athletes different?
Yeah.
No,
Well, I mean,
no, they're not. What do athletes do that you don't do other than their daily life routine?
We're famous.
Nothing. They don't do anything different than you. Nothing. We all eat. We all sleep. We all bleed.
But we don't.
They make more money than.
It has nothing to do with fame. Fame is much like monetary value. Fame is only important because we make it important. What makes a diamond worth money?
the way it looks.
It's rareness.
It's valid.
They're really not rare. Diamonds are one of the most common materials found on the surface.
There's plenty that rains diamonds. There's plenty that rains diamonds.
They're shiny.
That's probably the best. That's probably the best answer.
Yo, I said that earlier.
Shiny.
I said the
I
way
said
it
they're
looks.
valid.
Okay. But listen,
Yes, I did.
guys. Do diamonds actually have any real value? No. Why do they have value?
They have value. We say they have
We
value.
like them.
Especially
They're
right.
shiny. They're fancy. They're nice.
We give diamonds value. They don't have value on their own. We give it to them. If tomorrow everybody decided they hated diamonds, what would the value of a diamond be?
Zero.
Zero.
And then a penny could be worth millions.
So, value is assigned. Much like heroes are made from sports. They're not different, guys. They don't have anything that you don't have. Their choices have put them where they are. And that makes them different. But all in all, they're people. They eat, they breathe, they sleep, they die. Everybody does it. It's what you make of it in between. But we need heroes. America needs people to lead and take people's minds off of what just happened. Because we don't want to address it because it's not pretty and we didn't like it. So there's baseball back in the early days.
Why is that so weird? Why they stay like?
And then they have the really strange outfields. So let's talk about Babe Ruth. So here's the thing about Babe Ruth. And this is why Babe Ruth is really kind of famous. He's larger than life, not only He's larger than life not only because he is really good at baseball. That's true. He's larger than life because he pretty much does whatever he wants to do. He spends 15 seasons with the New York Yankees. That's not much longer than an average people day. That's not much different than life today. He'll win 4 World Series, which is not super out there, right? Is Derek Jeter at one? How many?
What?
Doesn't matter. So he'll set hitting records, but he's larger than life. He can do pretty much whatever he wants, and nobody's gonna stop him. We also got this new technology from World War I. Radios. Because we can radio each other to talk to each other, right? That's going to come home and become the radio as we know it. And you're going to be able to listen to baseball games. What I need you to understand before you go, baseball will do more for the American people than most things any president does. Baseball brings families together around a radio to listen to the game. I mean, it's a family event. And it gives them the opportunity to forget World War I. That in itself is pretty much priceless. So y'all have to be.
So I'm gonna take a guess and say you did this yesterday. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's on Google Classroom.
Okay.